Well, I'm Mike and hello. Hello, everyone. How are we doing today? Hope we're having a nice time. Okay, I've accidentally clicked over onto a different screen. Right, so what I actually want to do is grab, we could go to a different, go back 60 seconds, my channel. Oh, studio there. Yeah, right, grab this, seconds, my channel. Oh, studio. Down? Yeah, there we go. Right, you would have got my sound on top here as well. So what I'm going to do there is pop out the chat. Right, then we're going to change to a different screen. Have this one play. Well, I just muted. I took someone else's video. He's just opening card packs. I like to watch card pack openings for Pokemon. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I got my chat up on screen now, like so. And if we can full screen that, I'm not going to be able to get my that window open, am I? Yeah, there we go. That's just slightly better. All right, cool. So we can see the chat window. It's on this screen right in front of me. That makes that a little bit easier. And then we go into just chill out for a little bit and sort out other chat windows. Nice. Here we go. So we can keep track of everything. Need to sort out. That's cool. It's cool that that didn't interrupt what was happening on the main screen to do the other one. Right, 2 seconds and we'll be with you. Here we go. Right, nice. Okay, that's pretty much it. Now, still have our piece from yesterday. You pop open our bottle of water. Look at this nerd with his Tyranids. Right, scissors. Down there. And have our tea towel here. Tyranids. Yeah, Tyranids. That's interesting. Right, what we got? Got one of the guys up there. Grab all my brushes. Move them to a side. I can see what's going on. Right. Okay, put them all there. Don't need my mouse or anything, so they shouldn't be in the way. Right, okay. Give them the sea glasses and a book to hold. Imagine. That'd be a bit of a conversion job, that. That'd be a bit of a conversion job. I'm not sure we could pull that one off. Right, okay, so I moved all the paints. Where did I put them? Over there? All the paints we were using. Bring them all back in. Oh shit. Like after we had a look yesterday, Dave, I put some cards that people were talking about to one side. I don't know if you wanted Larry's skill, but there's Professor, I said about Fencer Paldia, didn't I? So Maybe Professor's better if you need to dump whatever cards are in your hand and make sure you don't draw them again, I guess. So maybe the drawing 7 is definitely stronger than drawing 3, but at least the one could maybe lead into the other, right? I don't know. I don't really play, so yeah, what we're gonna do first thing is we're going to take we're gonna start we have the head that we were working on. Is the thing I actually have the camera a little bit further away today. So I'm gonna need to get used to holding my stuff again in a different position. So hopefully we'll be able to show you guys a little better how this is going to work. Hoping that we can actually get I might just use the little brush to add some red on after we've thrown a layer or two of black. Right, just need to touch these tiny little bits up. Going down here. To hold it so you guys can see it on the camera easily is to hold it in such an awkward position for me. Hey, I chose to do this, so holding everything at awkward angles is now my thing. And dab. Go. Alright, that's the one side. It does look like we accidentally touched bottom of his. Oh, we didn't even do the other side. We only half-assed it yesterday. I feel like the mic's too close to my face. I want to move forward. The mic's in the way. Right. Let me know if I push the mic too far away and I don't sound right. I should actually. We had a little bit of a sound check actually when we changed to get our chat window open. A little bit OS soldier. What's OS? Here we go, just add in. Just using the bristles of the brush, push down along the edges of the little. You see, so I'm not trying to actually push the brush into the edges of the actual bits, the detail. We're just trying to allow it to slide around. And now what you're gonna see me do here, you can see it looks like there's a lot of the color in between. So I'm gonna do now is try take off some of the color off my brush, and then I'm gonna try soak up anything that seems like a little bit too much for now, and just soak it back up. You guys see look, yeah, you can see that there's actually a gap there now, that the paint is kind of dissipated a little bit, it's gone away. So what we do then is we give it a few moments, meant of a little bit of soldier, yeah, or soldier, either way. I don't know what you're talking about. Wasn't sure if OS is supposed to be short for something. I see that this little bit here is actually carapace as well. So let's get this bit. I think when I was younger, I probably wouldn't like have painted this bit to be carapace, to be honest with you. Probably would have left it because sometimes it can be tricky, you know. What do I reckon? Do I think like underneath this bit needs a little bit more paint because it's got to catch up an extra layer? It's not going to look the same as the other bits. Do we think like underneath here, what would we do with this? Do you think we do this still red, like the top? Or do you think we like have this bit go like, I don't know how else I would have it look though, to be honest with you. Do it like purple. Black. Could do it black with some grey tones on it. That's pretty much. I'm trying to think, like these bits here look like the hard shell, right? But it's also then getting to a point where it's just like a lot. But what else would I do with it? What would I do with it? Leave it flesh tone, because the brain's gonna go like a blue and a pink color. So that's gonna stand out on its own. So I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think that's okay for now. Not gonna worry too much about it. Actually, what I wanted to do while we're here is I wanted to start working on the base. What I really actually what I really need to do is actually throw the material that we use on the base. So we'll close that for now. We'll have a little look at what state this is in. That's actually empty. My housemate gave me like tubs facing stuff when he got a package of it not so long ago, and he had like some reason he'd ordered twice as much as he needed. So he's like, "Yeah, you can have some." I was like, "Oh, cool, nice, thanks." I think he ordered like 20 pots. He's like, "I didn't order 20 pots." He's like, "Well, you got 20 pots. What are you gonna do with them?" He's like, "Well, you need some, right?" I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. I'll have some, of course." Yeah. So here we go. We are using Astro Granite. It's called technical Astro Granite. Yeah, pulled me off for a second there. Like, no, it's not. It's not Astro Granite, but it is. It is Astro Granite. So what this is this is basically sand in a paint, a grey paint. Because Astro Granite, it's like moon dust, basically. So what we're gonna do is, it's not. What's it feeling like down there? I thought this was kind of full, but it doesn't seem to be full. It's very liquidy for now. It's gonna dry. It's gonna end up a bit thinner, but to be honest with you, it's we can pattern it and it'll dry exactly how you leave it. So what I need to do is just grab enough of this out. This doesn't seem very thick, you know. We're gonna just spread it around with the tool, make sure that it gets into all the corners like this. And then we're gonna look. I was supposed to look around for some more detailed stuff actually. So we'll do some of that. So what I've been doing is like pushing it. I'll spread it around like this. It goes over the whole top of the model or the base, like cover that all up, make it all nice and even, and then I just like do random lines, and then I pat it. I like use the whole, because we've got to go different angles. It's not always going to be perfect, but it'll like leave some bumpy bits. Might not be very visible for you guys there, but you see how the light bounces on it, kind of really bumpy. And we're going to just keep going. That's not really finished yet, so Not going to worry too much about it just yet. This is actually full, but it's just very liquidy, this one. It's crazy. Crazy how much liquid there is. They go in stingy with the sand in their sand paint. Like, sand's expensive. It's like, it's just grey paint now. That's all it is. Right, I'm gonna fill this in right up. I really want to paint directly straight under this bit. Gonna fill it in, and then we're gonna put some tufts of grass and some skulls. I was gonna try find my skulls before we started, actually. I completely forgot about doing that, but it's easy enough. Probably won't do it. Probably won't go searching for them while we're streaming. So I think, like, in terms of getting this base completely finished, that's probably not going to happen. I don't need to spray the I don't need to spray the base white after we've put this on, because all I've got to do is just add the color we're going to use to it. And if I get any of these rocks that are on the bottom of this base bit, if I get any of these rocks, the detailed rocks here and here, this stuff here, if I get any of that covered with this grey, the rocks are basically going grey anyway, so it doesn't really make much difference about that. Right. Just add a bit of texture in. Don't want it to be too, like, obvious. Don't want it to seem like it's, like, purposely done, you know, so trying to just make it look a little, probably put it on a little bit thick there. You love some astral granite, you need some. It's a good base. It's a good color for your base, and good start at least. You can get used to using it. It's pretty nice. Right, okay, so we're going to just ripple these last few parts now, so that they kind of just, so we put it on flat, and now all I'm doing is just kind of like pushing down on it so that it like bunches up in different places, and then we're trying to move it round so that it doesn't look like it's done on purpose. So if I do it from one angle and it looks like it's basically going in lines, we can then just change the angle of the tool and go again with it. There's a lot. We actually put too much here. When I stop moving it, when I stop like pushing down on it, it's starting to flatten out evenly on its own, which isn't really what I want to do, because this bit here is going to look a little bit out of place compared to the rest. You can see here, you can't actually see, but once we start dry brushing it, you'll see a difference. But you can see here it's starting to dry up, and it's starting to like get thinner, like here. So it's still kind of thick and blobby here at the moment, very thick and blobby there, but right here it's going pretty nicely, actually, the way we want that to go. So that is the base to its current, like, well, that's as far as we're going to go with the base for now. Gonna need to give that one a decently long amount of time, actually. Takes a while for that one to really cure up before we can actually work on top of it. So again, that one's gonna just wait there. We'll pick back up on it maybe an hour or so. Hopefully with these lights on it, should dry off a little better, but we'll find out. So yeah, either way, let's pick up our head again now. We have, I can see that all the red has dried already, looking good. We have 2 coats of red on there now. Do we need a third one? To feel like black can start working its way. Black will start working its way on there now. So let's give it a coat of Nuln Oil. I don't have a lot of Nuln Oil left. I really need to go. 24 days trying turns into 23. Yeah, I don't think it's going to take that long. I don't think people would have time for the hobby if they had to wait that long for the stuff to dry. Right, here we go. We're going to try to do all the really delicate parts of this head before we go into like the really easy, just like, well, the carapace on the top of the head is going to be like the really easy bits. I'm hoping that we can finish this head by the end of the stream today. I think this model should be pretty much finished today. We have some other models that have been like partly finished before now, so we're gonna hopefully get moving on to some of those today as well. Message my housemate, see if he's noticed that I'm doing painting streams. Right. We say not interested. Knowing him, nah. If he's got the time, he'll probably just pop in. We'll see him. He'll come up as either Raven or Echo. Echo's like the communal account that we have. Use it for modding on each other's channels. So if you ever see Echo, either me or the housemate. During my morning streams, it's normally me on my own stream, just using it to mod and keep an eye on chat. Right. So here's I'm hoping that because we chose to do this extra piece of detailing down here, where it's going to be doing the red carapace look like this here, coming down the side of his head. Like, I think because we've chosen to do that and fill that in, I'm hoping that the model really pops out. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna scoop up some of the excess black. Okay, so what else was we needing to do? I wanted to get another layer of this purple coming down the side of the head. So yeah, we're going to just do a bit of the color work. I'm going to leave the top, like I said, for now, until we've done all the little detailing on the rest of the head, because it just means that I got something to hold on to for the time being that I'm not going to ruin by moving it around in my fingers, especially right now. It's going to be a bit bit iffy, bit touchy. So add in some more purple down here. Trying to define a little bit more color in this little section. I'm going to be using a blue. It's a very strong blue. I think it's like the glaze, like the Gilliman glaze blue. We use that for the brain, and then we'll be dry brushing. I mean, it's going to be probably be easier to paint this stuff around the brain. To be honest with you, painting the brain, like now, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, wait, like the brain's gonna be like the hardest part. It requires dry brushing. So the brain's gonna be pretty tricky to like get sorted out in there. I think we got a small enough brush to do some small detailed dry brushing, but I think sometimes it can come up as being rather clumsy sometimes in such small spaces, so we could always just touch up anything that we accidentally touch with a dry brush with the wash we're only washing, and the dry brush is going to be pink, which we've done before. You can see we got, this is what the brain's going to kind of look like. Might not look as like this blue's a bit thick, might not look as like blue as that, but yeah, we're gonna, it looks all right. That's pink. It's hard to tell on this camera the colors, but that's pink on blue. So yeah, that's basically where we go with that one. So it should be okay. What else are we doing then? These are the claws. You can't see them, but these are the claws that stick out of the shoulders. They go here, and in these little holes that you can see. This one here goes here, and the other one goes there. There's two little holes there to let the little arms through. So kept them separate because it'd be a nightmare repainting them after we've done the carapace, and then try not to touch the carapace as we dry brush these. So again, just try to avoid some of the like worst parts, the worst aspects of some of this work, and hopefully just make it as smooth as possible. So we also need to do the fingernails on the hand. So what we want to do there is Reichland Flesh Shade, which we have here. My other thin brush, the not so thin brush. Use Reichland. That's the Seraphim. That's the Reichland. Give it a good shake. I use the Reichland. Hey. What do I stick them with after painting? Find any plastic glue can melt the paint, but super glue is a bit brittle on the plastic. I just usually super glue them, yeah. So you're right, because there'll be layers of paint on the little arms, and there'll be layers of paint on here. What it'll do is the glue will stick the paint to the paint, which means if you put enough force on it, it'll just break the layer of paint off one of the two sides, right? Which can then be an issue. But if that ever happens, a little bit of glue, and then you're painting, then you got like bare plastic on paint that's gluing in, so it should be okay the second time. But try not to put too much glue, because the residue of the glue can actually, where you get that cloudy white around the glue, you can mess it up a little bit using too much paint, and or if the environment you're painting in is a little too moist. I'm gonna say, if it's like you're very humid, humidity can be an issue as well when gluing stuff. So it's a bit hit and miss, but because I don't actually, they usually just get painted and then stay in on my shelf or in my box, so I don't usually touch them again. But once the piece breaks off after you've painted it, it's not going to glue again very well. It usually comes off very easily after that point, but just try to be super careful with your models, really, and you should be okay. Just like, normally if it's a Tyranid, I grab the tail. The tail's going to be like the strongest point. We've like green stuffed the gap, and there's like a really large gluing area for the tail. Because of the way they design the tails, they like two little plates that go like side by side. You get a lot of glue in the tail. So if you're going to carry the model around, I either grab it by the tops here, or I grab it by the tail, and that way you're not grabbing the arm. Don't grab the arms. Don't grab anything that's like small, because like you don't want to put any extra pressure on the actual model, and that way hopefully you can avoid like pulling it apart or damaging it. Also, rule number 1, don't knock them off the table. I like to express myself when I'm playing, and like sometimes I can swing my arms around when I'm like expressing what's happening. So I kind of like to role play a little bit about what's actually happening in the fight, like back in the day. And I remember I was like playing with my Necrons, and I flew my monolith up on top of a building to like get a good shot down at someone, and like then I finished with that, and I completely forgot about the model, and I was doing something else, and I was like waving. I was like waving like there was an explosion. I just knocked my model across the shop like and smashed it. It was like, yeah, it went flying. I was like, okay, could have killed someone with that thing. That's huge. But yeah, so yeah, just be aware of like what you're doing with your hands and everything. Don't swing them low near the table. Don't try to overly express yourself. Learn from my mistakes, because I sure as hell I sure as hell don't. I've got endless stories where I just knock all my models off a table. In the more recent editions of the rules, is literally like my opponent's turn. I just knock all my models off the table and then go home. God, I did not enjoy the game. Towards the end, I was not enjoying the game at all. Like when 8th edition first came out, they had like beta rules. Yeah, I got some Tyranids. I also got some I got some Blood Bowl dinos that we can work on here. I got some actually which are nearly finished, which I'll have to go grab. But yeah, just we got a lot of Tyranids. I want to work through one group at a time, but we still have the Great Unclean one we can jump on. Oh, you can't see that. This one back here, we can jump on and do some extra little detailing on that. That one's nearly finished actually. So yeah, just trying to finish off, trying to make sure that we focus models and try to finish some stuff off. So we're gonna let that dry, and then we got some black that's gonna go on to the nails. Have we done the black on the rest of the nails? I think we have. Trying to see, trying to gauge like if I think the nails. I think the nails could probably do with a little bit more black just at the top bits. It's hard to say. Every time I do a Tyranid model, like all the nails are always different on each one because I just do them slightly differently. Are we done black on the feet? Doesn't seem like we've done too much black on the rest of the model though. So what are we doing? We've got the black here. We're going to do another layer of black on this bit, and then we'll be able to dry brush that with some red. I don't think we're going to be dry brushing I don't know actually. It's tricky. This is not the brush for doing the black. That is not the right brush. Put that one down. This one, smaller brush. Doing the black detailing here. I got a few dinosaurs as well. Like you could finish off the one that the Triceratops. We could finish the Triceratops off at some point, but I think we've really got just the guys that are going to be walking around at its feet. To be honest with you, that'll be getting finished because the model itself is kind of pretty much finished. Gotta glue all its bits back on. They have to find all its bits and glue them all back on. We moved house not long ago, and like all the loose bits on all my models that just need to be re-glued constantly, just all of them on every model that I had during the move came off. I had to find them all and re-glue them all back on. But like I said, it's the same thing where once it comes off, it just gets really hard to get it to go back. So we didn't do the other bits of the carapace on the back of the skull here while we were at it. We might have to just do those as well the first time. Right. This is going to be very, very, very fine dry brushing. when it comes down to it. Okay, so these pieces coming down the neck from the side of the head, they're carapace, so they're going to be coming in the same color as on top of the head. I hope it really adds a lot of nice detail to it. We have some carapace at the back of the skull as well, which we haven't added any black onto by the looks of it. So let's get... I do it so that you guys can actually see what I'm doing sometimes. Add some paint on these ones. It's looking like I'm not going to get any work this week again either, so hopefully we can get back into... I used to do commission painting. I really just would like to get back into that. Like, if you don't know what commission painting is, it's where other people pay me to paint their models. That's what I used to do. I actually retired. I'm an ex-retiree. I retired from work like 5 years ago, and I was just doing painting models myself, and somebody offered me a job to paint an army for them, and they had been looking around for a studio to paint their army up, but they all said that at the moment they're all too busy to do the job for him. So he asked me how much I would do it for, and I gave him a price, and we both agreed that we would do like half and half. He pays half when I start and half when I finish. And I said, like, it was a pretty big job, but I said, like, I tell you what, if you drop half of it off, and like, it sounds pretty big, but I'll do half of it for like 600. I don't mind giving you guys the numbers because it is what it is. I said I'd do half of it for like 600, and then we'll look at the other half and we'll gauge, like, if I like add a little bit more. But I said it won't cost you more than like double that. It won't cost you any more than double that because it's a very hefty army. It was like 200 skeletons and 3. There's like vampire characters that ride ghost dragons. There were 3 of those. There was like a werewolf riding a wolf. That looked pretty cool, actually. There was a vampire, like a big, like where they turn into the big bat, where they look like a big bat. Like, so yeah, there's a vampire like that, a pretty big one. And I built all the bases. I don't have any pictures of this one because it's like someone else's stuff. I don't have any pictures of these anymore. But like, it was a very nice looking army at the end of it. And we agreed, like I said, 600 for the first bit. That'd be half, and then I would do the first half and then get the second half, and then we'd finish it, and then he'd pay again. And so he agreed. He went home, and he paid me what the studio had quoted him. So significantly more money than that. So I was like, what the hell? I was like, dude, is this right? It's like, seems to have accidentally transferred me more money. And he's like, nah, that's how much the studio wanted, and since you gave me a fair price, I thought, you know what, like, why not just pay him what the studio would have charged me for it? So turned out pretty nice, actually. So yeah, ended up doing like 5 or 6 jobs for that guy, like 5 or 6 full army jobs for him. So that really, yeah, it was pretty nice, actually. It was a pretty nice time, just chilling and painting as my job. It was really fun. It's really fun, actually, when you do something you like doing and you actually can actually do that for a living. It's pretty sweet. How do I store them? Have I tried magnets and metal storage shelves? No, I don't like it. You saw me. Oh no, you didn't see me emptying the boxes yesterday. I have boxes where they stand up, but I have bubble wrap, like 2 layers of bubble wrap on top. So like they all stand up like with no space between their bases. So they're like kind of like turned and spaced in, and they kind of all touch, so they can't shift around. And then I put bubble wrap on top, and then I lay ones on top of that, and then I put bubble wrap on top of that. So there's, as long as you hold the box flat, you don't have to worry too much. But I thought, like, because I don't know. I don't know if I trust the magnets all that well, to be honest with you. How have magnets worked for you? I've seen people like have layered shelving with his a magnet up on top and a magnet below, and they got models standing here and they got models upside down on the top. But it's like, if anything comes off, it's gonna just rattle around loads. Like, at least if you pad them all out, like, they've got no way of rolling around if they're loose. They're just still held in place. So I don't know. I don't know. If you've been doing it yourself and you think it's pretty good, then I can't argue with that because I've not done it. It's just a lot of extra work, and I try to avoid extra work. Just throw them in a box. I do try to look after them. Where's my brush? My big brush there. That's the one. Right, so try dust this guy down. Right, we've got a bunch of half-built winged primes. So what we can do, if you guys said you liked the idea of the conversions, we could actually finish building some of them and do the basings and stuff like that. We can build some of them from scratch if you guys are interested. I actually bought a bunch of leftover sprues that have the prime pieces on, so I can convert warriors into primes, because I was planning on just making a bunch of these and then seeing if people liked them enough to buy them. So that was one thing that we were going to do, but I never got around to doing it because we ended up moving house and some other stuff. I haven't had anything come off and roll around yet, but haven't had the money to move them very far. That's fair. That's fair. Like, obviously, you get like dynamite, not dynamite, but I think you know the word that I'm thinking of. It's that metal in it, dyna something. But they're like really strong, aren't they? The magnets themselves are like pretty strong. So I don't know if they actually, the way magnets work is they should slowly lose power over time, right? Because they're transferring electrons back and forth constantly. So they should eventually lose their neodymium. Yeah, that's the one. Neodymium. That's the one. I knew you do magnets, so you would know. There we go. I was relying on that. I'm glad someone knows what they're talking about around here. I want to get these arms started. It's alright. Even if you spell it wrong, like, we get the idea. I understood it, so it's all good, mate. Yeah. So what I'm gonna try to do is avoid putting too much paint on the part here where we're gonna be gluing it. So I don't want loads and loads of layers of paint on the part that's actually gonna receive the glue, which is okay because it actually has, it's like a little peg, kinda, so we can actually get away with that. We're going to, I don't want too much red here, it's just a base coat, so let's make sure there is enough red to actually colour it. Right, we're going to put that down somewhere. How do I put it down somewhere where it's not going to be, I don't want to put it on something absorbent. I have a card sleeve. It's there on the table. I don't think I need to really load my brush up with any more paint, but got this next one here. This is the peg bit there. You'll see it better once I've added some color. I wish there was a function on YouTube where it only shows you videos you haven't seen. So it keeps playing the same videos. If I leave it on autoplay, like we've got it on autoplay right now, it keeps playing the same videos over and over and over again. I guess I'm not really watching them, so it's not really that important, but Like, honestly. There, we've added in some colour. Might do... There's some carapace across the top of the nail. Might actually do that with these ones here. Might change them to have the carapace coloured in too. They're okay. Hopefully they're okay. So, do we... The dry brushing is going to be tricky, but I think we can pull it off. I think my years of experience should be able to shine through here, right? Right? It's all about taking your time and not rushing it. So, you need to colour it in first. It's already been coloured with Reichel Flesh Shade. So what I think we need to do is just be careful. We've got like the edge of the... It's got like, every time you got like anything coming in, you got these little fingers. They're basically holding the nails and the scything talons and stuff. So you always gotta be aware of those as well with Tyranids. Try not to touch them. Like if you hit them, it's not that big a deal. Like, it's not that big a deal if they're not so obviously sticking out, but once you get used to painting and once you get doing the smaller details more often, you'll be able to avoid like adding any extra colors to them and having them stay white without having to touch them up is actually adds just a little bit of extra depth to the detail. You know what I mean? So there's something to look forward to as you get better at painting. What is a little question for some interaction. What is your favorite model, either that you have painted yourself or like just your favorite model in Warhammer in general? Anyone who's interested in answering that question. I know Dave really wants a Norn emissary, one of these guys. So he might say that he wants one of these. I like the bigger models. I like the dragons as well. I painted a Stormcast dragon a while back. It's like really nice. It's a really nice model. And it came out really, really nice as well. I do have pictures of that one. If anyone who joins the Discord, I'll throw some pictures of some of my older stuff into the Warhammer. I think we have a show-off Warhammer section on the Discord. Right. The fact that we've already coloured the nails in is actually helping this red look like it needs less layers before it gives us the effect we're looking for. So that's going to be pretty nice. The difference I find between like... The reason why I like Tyranids a lot is because the difference between painting a Tyranid and painting, like, say, an orc, right? I tried to paint orcs on multiple occasions. Yo, hit the like button. Yeah, I always forget to ask that stuff. Thanks for that one. Is that the smaller details with the Tyranids, the smaller details are just like parts of the flesh. You see, so we got like the elbows, we got these little like pits and vents coming up the arms. So really you just like, to make a load of extra detail, you just add in a little bit of like its original base color. So we start with the Carisberg Crimson. If we was going to paint these, if we were going to paint the skin tones blue, right, like a blue and a white, like to make an icy blue color, we would like fill in with a little bit of extra, like a darker blue, and we'd probably use like a turquoisey for the skin, right? Dry brush with white. I mean, I wouldn't mind painting some other coloured Tyranids at some point in time, but we'd have to find someone who actually wants those colours. Some say there's a little difficult, but others Some say they're a little difficult. Oh, the orcs. Yeah. Orcs have a lot of detail, like really small details that all need to be different colors. So if you really want to like, the problem is every single model is like it. They're just rammed full of loads of different details. So if you're the type of person that wants to like sit down and like every single model, you're like, yes, this guy's gonna look amazing, then orcs are really good for that. But if you're someone who's just like, you play chaos, ooh, I got a whole chaos army in boxes. I can actually go grab one of the models I've painted if you're interested in seeing how my chaos is gonna end up looking. We're also painting the Great and Clean one right now as well. So yeah, I got a massive box full of chaos. Actually, it's huge. I got so much chaos to do. I think I got two of that starter set, which came with the spiders, the new like spider crawler thing, and the dogs. I had two boxes with the dogs, and they come with the little brute guys and all that other stuff. Plastic crack is real, 100%. 100%. Definitely. I think we're all in the same boat on that one. Right. I think we can the moment of truth, guys. The moment of truth. This is the nail biting part of this whole sequence that we've been doing so far. I'm gonna use a small dry brush. This is the small dry brush, right? Compared to my large dry brush, which I use for most instances, right? So this one's supposed to help us to be a little bit more delicate. We're gonna do these pieces down the neck here with hopefully not touching any of the neck, because if we ruin this part of the model now, ooh, oh, I don't know if the dry brushing is the right choice. We're not getting a lot of red transfer. We're gonna have to keep slowly, gently. Maybe the brush, maybe we just didn't load the brush enough. It did seem to get to the dry brush state really quickly. So maybe we just didn't load the bristles as much as we need to. Let's see, that looks alright. Let's go. Just holding my breath while I do it. Don't worry about me. I think I might need to just be a little rough and consider tidying it up a little bit. Actually, it didn't go too badly. Didn't go too badly. You guys might be able to see that. There's a lot of light. And we don't want the camera to do that again. Let's not do that to the camera. You can see we didn't get too much red outside of those little notches. Let's try the other side. So, gotta do both sides though. So, it's not over yet. These notches do feel like they're a bit more pronounced than on the other side. We're going to load up our brush a little bit more with some red paint, make sure we get all the bristles covered. Yeah, thanks for the compliment, man. You know, we spend a lot of time, like, the base coloring, once we get through, is kind of like pretty quick, the base part of painting the model. But once we get to this point, we slow down a lot and just try to make sure that we're like careful going over all the bits we need to do. It looks good, like top down here. It's like I need it to look just as good coming upwards from underneath as well. So trying to this side. You see, maybe you can see, yeah, you can see that there's a bit more red. We might actually nah, you know what? We can just we can sort that out. We just gotta use a white. I don't have another small dry brush. I think I've only got one, so I can't make a small white dry brush. I'm gonna have to fix it. Yeah, so I think if you like corn, then Tyranids, like Kraken Tyranids, can play very similar to like berserkers and stuff like that. So yeah, they can be pretty. Except the thing with the chaos is that most of your stuff has a savings throw, whereas with the Tyranids you don't. So it's a bit tricky sometimes. You don't get any saving throws as a Tyranid, so you really just need to like get there quickly and do your job fast and just not allow your opponent to get a lot of like turns to attack you. So it's a lot more, there's either like hiding and like attacking, like blitz attacks, right? Making sure that you send enough things to just basically cripple their unit before they get a chance to do anything back to you. Right. This is what we're going to do. We're going to load up a lot of white on this red brush. I'm going to mix it like deeply into the bristles like this onto the, we're just like jabbing all the white as deeply into the bristles as we can. Then we wash it straight away. This is how I try to get my brush back to being clean and not red. So this is like fighting red wine with white wine. We've still got a little bit of red transfer coming through here. So what I want to do is I want to do a second go with the white. And then we might have all the red out of this brush then. So this is how I clean a brush out of a difficult color. You know, yesterday I said just keep a green brush, keep a red brush. But sometimes if you don't have the brushes, you need to have some sort of technique like this where you can clear out and try get your brush back to being just a blank color. And white can work wonders doing that. Okay, now there's like hardly any red transfer. The white has really helped pull the red out, and then white doesn't like to stay in the brush. So, and you can see the brush is pretty much back to its base colors. So that helps a little bit. What we can do now is use the white to dry brush just ever so gently back on top of where we've just touched the model with the red on the head bit. I don't know, it might be a bit tricky actually. I have to just go back to base and then do all of the washing from base back up on there. We'll see. This is kind of like what we were doing yesterday after we did those parts and we had to just touch them back up a little bit. It's looking white, very white. So I think, to be honest with you, I think we'll get away with not really worrying too much about trying to fix this bit. We'll show you why and what I mean in 2 seconds. Let me sort this brush out again. So it looks nice. What do you guys reckon? It looks nice, right? It might like put a little bit of extra red down there. on both sides, but when it comes to it, it's going to be sitting inside this here. So when we see it, like, I don't know actually. I think like to my eyes, it looks fine. Like the camera's picking up the red a little better, but the camera's like bringing the white as being really white. It's not actually white. Think more, it's more like a dirty cream color than an actual white. The camera and the light here is just really bringing out some of those colors. So yeah, I think for now, I think it actually looks fine because you're not going to notice any of that extra red on it all that much. So we're gonna put that down there. So I think we're okay. I think we're okay there. What we could do actually is we could water down some Seraphim Sepia, and we could, because that's the second color we used when doing the flesh tones here. So if we water down Scratch built a Reaver Titan. That's sweet. I have a plan for doing a Knight Titan to Chaos conversion. So my theme is exhaust pipes. So what we'll be doing is like theming up just like one with loads of exhaust pipes all over it. It's gonna look pretty sweet, I reckon. So what we're gonna do now is we're going to water down a bit of Seraphim Sepia and then use that to just darken down the back half, just the back half of this neck, right? So that's going to darken down a touch, and it's very light, so it's not going to really interfere with the colors all that much. So that's that bit. And we're going to do the same on this side because basically the model's going to have this extra shadowing, right? On the neck that's inside the carapace. The internet died. Shitty internet. Is it back? Are we back? Did the internet die? You guys catch all of that? When did the internet die? At least it continued to work. And it came back within a reasonable time frame, so it continued to work. So yeah, we're darkening down the back bit there with a little bit of watered down Seraphim Sepia. I think we might actually like change our mind on the watered down portion of that. Just go like straight in. Just like this is extra shadowing now for the back of the neck bit past the ridges. So just add a little bit extra in. So the red should blend in to the actual color of the neck a little bit better, you see. So the front is like whiter, the back is now going to be slightly darker, and then that's going to look like it's just shadowed a bit better. It should hide the red a bit more for us. Oh, Chaos Kit Basher, as your name is, I made out of Chaos parts a Orc Stomper for a friend of mine, and I traded it for Night Titan. So I built it completely from scratch. I used I had a bunch of like trashed Chaos models that come from a bunch of bundles that I bought, and one of the trashed models was a what's the spider robot, the big one, the old big one, Defiler. Is it called a Defiler? So I'd like the body and the legs for a Defiler, and I was just like, you know what I mean? This is going to be our body, and this is going to like create our arms and legs. So I built hands to go on the ends of some of the legs, and I built feet to go on the ends of some of the others. And basically like Orc kit bashed this Defiler into a Stomper, which was a little bit taller. It ended up being a little bit taller than a Night Titan. It was like really skinny. It was really skinny though. It had a guy in like the chest cavity had a barrel as part of the chest cavity, and there was a guy sat in there and the barrel was like open on one end, so you could actually see the pilot driving this stomper. It was quite cool actually. And on the back of the model, I think I mentioned this one yesterday. Some of the people might remember the story. On the back of the model, there was like half a vehicle, like an orc truck, sticking out the back of it, which had a guy sat in that, and he had like machine guns on the roof of the truck bit as well. So he's like shooting people as the orc stomper just runs past. I thought it was pretty cool. I don't have any pictures of that either, but I think that one looked really cool. But yeah, I think we could do some conversion stuff on stream. I'll have to fish out. I know where the Night Titan that I put together to start converting is, so I'll have to go and find it and have a little look. Have a look at what state it's in. It might need some. In an open box, so it might be a bit dusty. Might need dusting. I think it doesn't look. I think it looks lighter than I want it to look. It's like base color, so I think we did spray it with. We did spray it with. What's it called now? Sprayed it with. The silver one. Got the color now. Lead belcher. It's sprayed lead belcher to start off with, and then it'll go different color from there. We just noticed that there's some more carapace that needs some red adding onto it. So let's go back in with a little brush. We'll have to clean it out again, that's fine. It's not a big problem. Might have to go and buy a bunch of new brushes at some point in time, just so we've got a bigger range of brushes to use. So I try to do this on. So gotta remember that we need to do this on camera. You guys are wanting to see what's happening. I'm just like holding it close and doing it to my chest the way I usually paint. Spit right here. There you go. Clear the back there. Both sides. Just avoided touching the rest of the model. Not that any of this is actually fully painted yet. I noticed once I changed the angle that I was holding it that I didn't actually quite get this top little bit in here, but you're not going to see that very well, so it doesn't matter how harsh the actual paint on it is. Yeah, that's looking nice actually. It's starting to darken down a little bit. You can't see the red from the dry brushing where we accidentally touched the rest of the model. So much is blending it all in a little better now. So that's looking cool. I think we're slowly getting there. I think the next part is probably to get the top of the head, the carapace on the top of the head, like painted in. We'll work out what, if anything, what color we want the eyes to go. There's a little bit of dry brushing here to because we touched the bottom parts of these little mandibles. Just touch the bottom parts of these mandibles, so they're going to be really easy because they stick out to do. So what do we want to do? I think we want to dry brush this red before we do anything with the brain, because we're going to color the brain back in white, and then we're going to put a blue on it, and then we're going to go from there. I don't know, these bits right here are kind of like carapacey ridges, but I think if we just leave them in the flesh tone, I think they won't look out of place. But again, like a lot of extra detail that I'm not complaining about. It looks great. It looks great. This, like, they took some of the best, nicest parts of other models and they just like stuck them all on one model. It's like, hey, you like the Neuronthrope because it's got a big brain on it? Well, now now you can do that with your Hive Tyrant. Haha. The only issue I really have is like, no, we just put some red in the white because this brush is wet. I shouldn't have done that. That's terrible. No. Why would we do that? Oh, shouldn't have put the wet brush in here. That might actually clean the brush out faster. I need to scoop out all the white that has any red in it. Let's grab it. That looks good. Okay. Right. Come on, brush. Clean brush. Let's get this out of the way. You got any pictures of your Titan? There's a link to the Discord in description. If you're interested in sharing, feel free to jump in. The community for Warhammer on the actual Discord isn't massive just yet, but hopefully the more of these we do, the more people will stop by and, you know, just chill. We're just chilling anyway. We're just chilling. Not that important. Okay, where are we going? We need... I think we use the big dry brush. Just get as much of this red on the head as quickly as possible. Let's make sure the brush is loaded up fairly well. Nice, it's looking good. Grab him by the face. We're going to start off by dabbing into all the crevices, and then we'll use the rest of the brush to just push it to all the edges. We can actually just dump a load on. I don't really want it to go like super heavy, like all over the place, because I don't really want puddles of this building up in any of the detail. But what we can do is you can put a decent layer of this on, to be honest with you, because we just want the color to transfer in. So quite a decent amount of it is okay, acceptable. There we go, right. That's the top. Now, we will be doing the bottom. I'll do that now though. While we're doing it, might as well get it all done out of the way. It's going to be a bit trickier because there's not a lot of places we can hold, but you guys can see. Let's just be a lot more careful underneath here. We're going to dab in the middle and then let our brush spread. Gonna let our brush spread out towards the inner bit. If you just like jostle your brush, you can have it slowly like walk its way in to like the area where you want it to be. This way we can try, because we will touch up like the brain bit and we'll redo the brain bit from scratch, I think. But what we want to do is if we could avoid like adding any extra color there, it makes it easier for us to get it like up to scratch, to like replace it back to where we want it to be, you know. So the less work we have to do, the better off we are. That's always the case, right? So add any extra work to ourselves, and oop, I just touched the red, but that's fine because it's just red wash on red, so you're barely gonna see it. It's not a thing that we're gonna have to worry about. Okay, so there we go. First coat of the red, both underneath and on top, has been put on there. We're gonna do maybe 2 more coats. We'll see how it looks with each coat because it got painted red at the start. It's technically already got 1 layer of red on it, so we could get away with just 2, because then when we add the black, do 3 layers of black then, and it'll look a bit patchy, like we showed you with the main carapace at the start of yesterday's stream. It will look a little patchy, but once you start dry brushing it with the red, the black will get darker and the red will get lighter, and it'll really define the model a lot. So that's how we end up with this nice. In my hand's reflecting the light and it's reacting to the light, the extra light being there and getting dimmer. So as you can see on the carapace here, like the red with the black, and like all the detail can be seen through it. So yeah, I'm not very good at drawing the little lines for Tyranids, so this is usually where my carapace stops, but then that's how all of my models are painted, so it matches my whole army anyway, so it's not really anything we need to worry about in that sense. Are we going to... We've done 2. Let's give black... Let's put black on these claws now. Like darken them down. We have gone over one of these fingers. I think this finger at the top in the middle as well, that's getting a bit dark. I must be touching that when we're not looking. It's accidentally running into it. So what we'll do is like try to be careful with it, but it's not super easy. And if you do go over them, it's not that big a deal, to be honest with you. You can always just touch them with a bit of white on a brush towards the end and just bring them back. As you can see, we get in red. I don't know, can you see? Again, like red edges coming through on these bits. We're putting the black in now, and you'll see that there will be some fairly red looking edges just like going through the black once it's put on. So right, when we give that a couple of minutes and we'll go over that again with some more of the black. But yeah, I think we just try to slowly work through some of these different parts now. Might get a little bit of white, sorry, touch up these little mandibles on the face. Like I said, it's not massively important because it's the bottom parts of the mandible. You're not really going to see them massively, like they're not massively exposed. I'm saying, I don't know, trying to explain it, maybe over explaining it. They can be a bit white because they do come out from the face, and the face is kind of like the focus point, you know? Got a little bit of red on the bottom edge of this jawline. So what we're going to try to do is clean that up, touch some white, at least try to dull down the color. Yeah, it's looking a little bit better. Let's try get a little bit more white on our paint brush, and we will go back in this bit here. What I need to do is go like right up, go down the grain of it here. If I don't, it's like I'm just painting like the top edge. So I need to like paint deeply, add some white in, much more white. This is the part I always struggle with, trying to get the white. I'm trying to get a color to come off the brush when we're trying to touch something up. There we go. Actually, it's actually alright. It's actually okay. Like the face being like really white, that's fine because the face is like, I don't know, with Tyranids, is the face even like the focus point with a Tyranid? like when you look at a Tyraniid model, do you really look at the face all that much? The faces are usually pretty small, right? Considering Carnifex has a pretty big head, but it's probably the biggest head. The Carnifex's head is 3 times the size of a Hive Tyrant's head, and the Hive Tyrant is a much nicer looking model. I have to say it. The Hive Tyrant is a much nicer looking model. This is a Hive. This is an Emissary. As you can see now, the bottom of the jawline is back to being... I just got a moth land on my head. Hell, moth. Go away. And yeah, same on that side. The bottom part of the mandible there is now coloured back in to match up with the flesh tone properly. And doesn't have any extra paint messing it up. So hopefully we'll be able to pick up some commissions at some point in time, and then you can watch a commission paint job from start to finish. I will have to pick and choose. I got a moth on my head. You guys can see it? Shiny, isn't it? Where did that moth go? Right, it went somewhere. It went inside my brain, I reckon. It found a little hole and it went in it. Right. So yeah, once we get these claws finished and we get the dry brush on the claws, we will then only have the tail, the end of the tail, and the tendrils coming out the back of the model. These tendrils and the tail to do. And that's the main body finished. The tail isn't too far off. I think we might do the red, like the carapace on the top half. I'm gonna do some yellow. Because I feel like it's gotta be like a poison, some sort of poison tail. We get a little bit of extra colour on the actual, let's see, call it the spike. What was I gonna call it? What's the tail on a scorpion called? What would you call that? The penetrator, the fagomizer. Is fagomizer? Can we use that word? Fagomizer works, right? So we'll use that. But yeah, he's getting there. He's getting close. You can do some dry brushing on the little the prime as well, actually, because we just need to do the dry brush, the red dry brush. This is where our small dry brush gonna come in handy. We've got a lot of work to do with it, to be honest. So I'd rather do this smaller model with the smaller dry brush rather than trying to be super careful with the bigger one. So we're gonna go straight back in with the red dry brush here. They like paint a model all the way to the point where it just needs dry brushing and then just stop working on it entirely. Some people might think that I have an issue with finishing something. I probably do, actually. Tried to do the same thing with Baldur's Gate. But actually, you know what? It's not quite that. I thought Cryptmaster was a fairly new game. I've realised that it came out like nearly 2 years ago now. After I looked, I was like, I thought it was pretty cool. Somebody had started playing it, and I thought it was fairly good. It might have just been like its demo, or like it came out. I don't know. If Steam has like a game released on like 2024, if it says 2024, does that mean like the actual full game, the actual final release of the game came out in 2024? I'm not quite sure. I'm not a PC gamer at heart. I'm a console gamer, so when it comes down to it, so I'm not sure if it's like when the actual thing showed up on the market entirely, because it would have had a demo back in the day when it was like on its way out. So yeah, we're gonna try and gently I realize the angle that you can see it, that there's actually like this piece further in on the chest. It's gonna be a nightmare to dry brush. I think we got it. It's looking alright. His neck, part of his neck is now red. It's like, this is what the smaller models where when you fully build a model and you like need to get your brush in. I'm the type of person who's like, I need to get my brush in and add the detail to that piece that's behind all his arms. That's why some of the older Space Marines, especially the ones like, I built a bunch of jetpack guys with hammers and shields, but they hold they're like this. Their hammers, like their hammer arm is really like super restrictive. You can't even like pose it so that their hammer's like not even in front of their body. And then the shield, obviously, the shield is like this as well. And you're like, how do I paint the model? How do I even paint this? That's impossible. This model now is going to look a lot like my old school models because it's the black on its head and the body and all that stuff is actually, and it's smaller, right? It's got smaller pieces. So I'm coloring it, but it's not got such a wide area to have color added to it, and it's smaller and it's deeper detail, so it's going to be more, look at it, it's more like, yeah, it's cool, right? I like it. Everyone's always complimented like how the red looks on my Tyranids. So this guy though, this guy definitely, even though I'm painting him right now, and we're probably using, like I said before, we used to use Wild Rider Red, which is more orange than red. It's kind of like it's a reddy orange. It's kind of like in between the two, but it's kind of it's very light, and it is obviously orange. But like when you add it to the black that we've got this layered up, like it actually gets darker. You see, so it looks more like a red then on the Tyranids, the way we use it. So everyone's always been like, oh, that red looks awesome because it's blended. It blends really well, and all the detail on the shell comes out really nice with it. Try get in. I got the chest bit done. I'm gonna try. Not gonna stress too much about having to fix up any of the flesh at the moment. I'm gonna just concentrate on getting this red on, and then we'll worry about having to touch up any other parts of this model after we're done. So this is one of my converted spider primes. You can see he's got scything talons for legs, and he's got some wings. These wings are gargoyle wings, I believe. It's from a gargoyle. They're small, but he's got 4 of them, so it kind of makes sense, right? It's kind of, you know, if your wings aren't big enough to carry you, then you're gonna need twice as many of them. But we see that in nature all the time. I don't think we see creatures with multiple sets of wings other than insects, do we? People call Tyranids insects. I'd say they're more like lizards than insects, but people like to call them the bugs. And I'm like, is it really a bug? Like, I don't know any Tyranid that looks like a bug. No, plenty that look like snakes and lizards. Definitely feel like they look like snakes and lizards to me. A mix of like the alien from Alien as well, though. So they're kind of like, but this way at least I've tried to make them look like they're from Starship Troopers, but they are bugs. So I guess you could argue that when I give them 4 legs and I make them look like bugs, then they are bugs. That's fine. That's acceptable. At the back of that one there, with the red there now. We're going to do the back. And I believe that's all of the red on this guy finished. We have his base ready. I think there was a plan for like doing a more fancy base. This is my first prime, my first winged prime actually. I thought I did a bunch. I might have done a bunch in the past. So I don't think I've ever sold any of these though. Put them up on eBay and see if people actually like the look of them. Then take them off. Then take them off eBay when people bid on them. If I was to sell them, I'd have to keep checking what's actually legal on a flying prime. I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure if you can biomorph them still anymore. It seems like they try to get rid of the variety of Tyranids. But they say like they're trying to simplify the game, which is fair. They want like more people to get involved. But it's just like the way they're doing it now, they change the rules. Like, so people buy models and they go to tournaments and they like use the models in a certain way in tournaments and they're paying attention to this stuff. And what they do then is they go and tell everyone who wants to play the game that they have to follow the new rules now based on what these people did at the tournament and what they don't want them to use in the next one, right? So they basically nerf the stuff that people use that's really overpowered, and then they try to increase something else on a different model, so that basically like the people then have to throw, I don't know what they do. What do they do? Do they throw those models in the bin and just buy the new ones? The new big thing? The new monster? The thing that's just got buffed? And then play with that? Like, if it even works? Or like, if it doesn't work, do they just throw the whole army in the bin and buy a different army? I'm not quite sure, because once you bought the models, you have the models, right? That's why I always say, like, just buy one of everything. At least if you buy one of everything, you've got the variety, and if they change the rules, you still have the model. I don't know what other people do. If they throw the models away in between and buy the new best thing, then that's up to them. That's up to them. I doubt they do that. Why would you do that? You just keep the old ones. But yeah, I don't. With something like Warhammer, if you just generally buy the whole range, there's nothing they can do that's going to stop you from being able to use your models. To be honest with you, they can change the rules, they can do whatever they want, but ultimately, they can't come to your house and take your models off you. Once you have them, you have them. You don't need to purchase anymore, unless they bring out new models every time. But that again then goes into the whole thing that people used to say that, oh, we wish we could get some new models, blah, 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 blah. And as soon as they start bringing out new models, people are like, oh, they want me to get rid of my old models and buy new models. I guess, like, when it's put that specific way, if they want you to get rid of your old ones to replace them with new models, then yeah, I guess I can understand why people would be a little upset with that. But, like, they complain that they don't get new models and they complain when they do. So either way, they're going to just complain. Let's not worry too much about it. Let's enjoy the hobby. Let's not complain about stuff. If there's a nice, cool looking model, but you don't think like it's really usable, then, you know, if you like it and you want to have it, just go get it. Just go have it. Especially, only if you can afford to get it, though. Don't just get it. Don't be like, throw these bills in the bin and go buy the models I want. Haha. You don't want to be like that. Don't be that guy. Again, just cleaning my brush out might be a waste of the white paint. So I don't know what else we can do. I can see all the red coming out. That's really good. Right? Just trying to speed up the deep cleaning of the brush, but it's jabbing it to the bottom. Since it's a dry brush, it doesn't matter about the bristles being like flat and straight. Bristles can be kind of all over, as long as they're not like too like spread out, if they spread out loads when you're trying to dry brush, you'll be hitting parts of the model you don't want to be hitting with it. So just need to be careful. Also, if you just squeeze, you just lightly squeeze on the ends and twist it in something that you're using to dry it, they'll just push all the bristles together, and then you can disperse them before you actually start doing any of the paint in there as well. So what about the base? What's the base looking like? To be honest with you, it's getting drier. You can see a little better actually on the pattern we've managed to put into the base. You can see that it like looks random. You can see that it's a bit bumpy, but it's like kind of just random, right? That's all you're looking for. Just random lumps and bumps, like how normal ground would look. It's been stripped, right? The Tyranids come through and they eat everything. They eat the grass. They eat anything that's bioorganic. Just they chomp on it and it's gone. So having all the ground like stripped off, it's pretty accurate. Especially when by the time like a hive tyrant gets to you, like all the smaller creatures have just like eaten all the grass and everything as they push through the wilderness. So having it come up at this state here, this is actually kind of accurate. The only ones running around in grass should be like termagants, formagants, and rippers, really. This should be the only thing really in grass. But we also have this metal plate here, which is all crumbling up with like corruption, like tendrils, like some sort of like a vine, kind of like a not quite a vine, but I can only really think of to describe it like a vine's like creeping, like a creeper vine. And then we've got these big spikes bursting out of the ground as well. So they're going to be the same color as the carapace on our creature. The top bits, the inside bits, right up against the edge here. These bits here, this side of it, that's going to be the same as the flesh tone. And then we've got this like little blooming part here, which is pitted and stuff like that. That's going to be, I think we're going to do like green and yellow on that bit there. So just so that there's like a bit more color. These pieces here are going to go purple. So we'll probably just start throwing the purple on that bit because that's not going to get in the way of the rest of the stuff. So I think it might be easier if we just do purple wash and we try to fill in the metal parts later with like a lot more finer detail. So I can just go over, I'm only going to do the metal bits for now. We're going to just dab in our purple just so that it covers everything. Like I said, we're going to make sure that it gets in. We might surround it with a different color, right? Just want to add the color on. We're not really leaving it too dark. We're not letting it pool up too much. We're just getting it on. That way then, once we come to do the metal, like we haven't like filled in too much of the parts there to ruin how the metal's going to come out. So trying to keep track of what is actually got this creeper on it and what doesn't. So just like this, dabbing it in. Like I said, spreading around anything that looks like it's a part of a creeper. I think that's actually not a creeper. I think that part was just like a tear in the metal itself. So there's a lot of detail. There's a lot of detail going on. Do I go across the rocks? So the rocks are going to need to do the same treatment. We just got some dry brushing coming on the base, which might touch some of the rocks first. But the creep is actually on top of the rocks, so they shouldn't be affected by the dry brush. What we want them to have is just a little bit of a purple outline right at the bottom of it. So we need to make sure there's enough purple just doing that. But eventually we'll fill in some of the other colors and that'll go away, so it won't be so bad. once we're done. Bit of creep here. And this piece will probably end up getting some creep on it. So right now, it's going to look like that. We might give it a second purple. I'm not sure it's going to need it, but we might give it a second purple just to make sure that there's a little bit extra color added onto it. As you can see here, like so. I could maybe do the red on what's going to end up being the flesh tone, but I want to just do the base. I want to get all the actual bottom of the base like colored in first. But before I can do that, I want to add some skulls to it, because I'm going to need to glue the skulls to the actual base itself, right? And then some of the base color is going to be what the skull color is. So we're going to be doing both of them at the same time. And then the skulls are going to just get a little bit extra detail of a different color, where the base color itself is going to go off on a different tangent, you see. So we start with the same base color for both the skulls, and I should show you. This is it. It's going to be looking like this sandy color, you see. So it's kind of got the colors for like a skull, as you can see already, like as part of what the base is going to end up looking like. We've gone down the edges here, but I don't know if we necessarily need to do down the edges on all of the models. But this one, just so I can keep holding it and I don't have to paint all the edges, we can just leave this one black, and we'll see where that goes when it comes down to it. So yes, the base has got a little bit of extra color on it now. Still waiting for the actual bottom of it to cure up. So we got more null oil. Then I think the head has dried, so we'll be able to throw some extra color onto the head, then get that one step closer where it wants to be. This will be the last coat of black, I think. It's starting to look pretty dark on these claws. Here. Sorry again, I keep holding it closer to me so I can see it. Right, like that. I kind of feel like this brush isn't clean enough for the wash. Brush is looking very white in this with this black wash on it. It's fine. I don't see it like what it can do. The problem that you can face is that it'll make the wash look really cloudy. But to be honest with you, when we dry brush the red on top, it's probably wouldn't even be noticeable. Probably wouldn't even matter. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. I think it'll just come out all right in the end. I mean, it's not putting the actual paint on cloudy, as far as I can tell, but when it dries, it could be a completely different story. We'll see. Okay, there. Right, so the claws are now as dark as we're going to put them. I think we got... We want to put a little bit of extra null oil on some of the claws themselves, actually. So just want to make sure that they are going just right. Helps to put more down at the base. What I got to do is just tap the top edge of the claw with my finger. That way I'm removing some of the black, the null oil, and allowing it to just naturally just fade up a little better. You see, once that dries, that should look a little better, since these ones are proper big claws and they're like kind of visible. We're going to do this. Then just tap off, just touch it with your finger, it soak up, and then it'll just naturally, because you put the color on, you're kind of just like drying it off with your finger and removing some of it with your finger. It kind of just blends up then. It doesn't look out of place. If I was to just take the black and just put it down at the bottom, I'd get a line of black where it's touched the rest of the nail, but it's not actually covering that part. So you'll see like a line on there. But when you tap it with your finger, you're just removing that line basically. But it means that you can like go across the entire part of the nail, and then it just blends all the old colors and the new color back in. It's a little better. It might turn out a little bit dark actually from the looks of this. Actually, I don't think they're too dark. I think they're fine. Let's rub in that one. Then we got this one. Some of the bigger ones. We'll leave some of the smaller ones. We got to do at least one coat on the fingers. So start there. Here we go. Just I don't know, a tie move. There you go, just a little bit. Just let gravity control. You'd think like it's going to come down and pull towards the ends, but it's actually pretty good at just staying where you put it. So we try to make sure that there's a lot of it towards the top. We try to remove some of the rest of it that comes a bit down. You usually find that it does stay more towards the top where you put it. There we go. Right, nails. Is that all the nails? Do we have any more? Nope, I don't think. This one elbow that we had touched up the other day because we accidentally smeared a load of purple over the elbow, and then we've got to just reapply some of the original base color. So I think we'd just go with the red, since all the elbows are actually just red, and then they didn't go brown, so they just stayed the ready color, and then got another layer of red on them afterwards. So it should be okay. Just throw some red just in the actual elbow. Throw it in a little bit thicker than we normally would, because I don't really need to do like a second coat. To be honest with you, there's like a lot of. I might have to dry brush it. I have to dry brush it again, and then use the other tone to just try to blend it back in. So let's get a lot of red on this. My fault. I did a little bit. I did purple around the bottom edges inside the carapace. You guys can see underneath the arms, that's purple, and this top part here, you see the purple there. So we added purple in for the under sections of the soft parts that attach the actual carapace to the actual body. But obviously, as we were moving the brush away, we just deposited a load of purple up the back of one of the arms. So I have to try to work that out and fix that up as we go along. So yeah, what else is there? We can now go back over the top of the model again. Let's get, accidentally nudged the camera there. Let's get, we should have something like a little bit higher so we could have the model. The problem is if I put the model right here in the middle, he's actually in the way of my hands. So yeah, there he is. We got him over there though. I can never get these lids to stay open. dabbing. Sorry guys, doing it again. Stabbing the purple in, especially down this ridged bit in the middle. Just went over the eye. Just went over the eye area there, so we can like do a little bit of extra detail in. We can color the eye in later, because the eye area is gonna have red on it anyway. So I thought we'd just bring it in. Make sure that means that we can make sure that we get the edge of the actual carapace there too. I can get that covered properly. So I'm gonna try dip into the eye area again on this side. Like that, and then try to avoid touching the mandible. Don't want to have to repaint that bit again, right? Don't have to repaint that bit again. Here we go. Here we go, just washing. Making sure we get it everywhere. Make sure it's all good. There we go, cool. And then from here now, we go into try get the bottom underneath part again. So we're running out of red actually, so it's gonna be good that we're actually coming to an end of where we need to put the red. What we could do is leave the bottom part with the red and not actually do the black. Don't put the black on it, and then don't dry brush it with the red afterwards, just so that the underside is like this, like a lighter fleshy red color, a patchy red color. I think that might look really nice actually. So we'll just leave it at this point with the red, which means we can actually get around to painting all the brain stuff in, which means we can finish off the main actual head bit. We can worry about just dry brushing only the top bit. There are brain sections on the top bit, so I'm trying to hold it so you guys can see. So once we've finished doing the dry brushing and stuff like that, we're gonna have to come back in with the white, put the white on the brain bit, and then we're gonna have to be very careful, super careful, adding in some brain texture there as well. That's gonna look pretty nice. So the next color for the actual head bit there is going to be a black. Add some extra black in. What are we doing? I actually bought up some other models to show you guys. Another army of mine. I show off one army a day. I might finish showing you all my armies by the end of 2 weeks. Right, so bear in mind again, most of my armies got to like a halfway point when I painted them and or started building them, and then we didn't really progress any further with it. I do have all the models to fill out the army. They either added more newer models in, and I just didn't want to go and like add in more models while I was still not finished with the ones I got, or I just ended up with a project that I had to do, like a paid project, and it just interrupted me doing my actual army, and then I just, sometimes end up not going back to them. But I think this army, it's kind of fairly playable. It's kind of fairly playable at the time, but it's kind of tricky. It's tricky. I don't know, actually. I'm not sure if it's actually fully playable with just the models that are painted, because a lot of the models I think I did a lot of the troops, but I didn't do a lot of the extra stuff or the characters or anything. As you can see, we got, you can probably tell, they are AdMech, they are not finished. We have magnets here for the guns, because my friend built these for me, and he liked to do magnetic stuff, so there's a lot of dust. It's a lot. This case was actually left open, which kind of sucks. Right, what happened to my base? What happened to the base for this guy? I didn't finish the base for this guy, but there we have High Magister Call. It's really tricky to like get all the colors to be shown nicely. There's a lot of detail going on with this guy, but a lot of shiny metallics, a lot of small details. So yeah, that's Belisarius Call, I believe. I remember where his base disappeared to. So, what do we end up with in this army entirely? We have the guys that use the shock sticks. We have some guys that are painted silver as a start. A lot of these guys that aren't painted are guys that have been added in. Like after I stopped painting. I think I was either waiting. Oh, I know what these are. I know where they go. I know where they go. So I got more. I got way more of this stuff just elsewhere. That's a character. That's like one of the characters. He's got the axe. We have, oh yeah, that's a blaster, a plasma blaster. Goes in there. We also have a little gun. Let's go in the other side, I think. So let's not look at all of those. Right, so how many of these guys with the spears? I think we did, there's 2 different builds for these guys. I think we ended up with a load of them like that. And we got a load of the soldiers. Spade silver. Or this guy. The priests, I think they're called the techno priests. There's a guy with basically a power fist there and a feeder tendril. And this guy, another one of these robots. Like I said, we got a lot of stuff. I haven't even bought out any of the guys that are painted yet, so we show all the basic models. Just I did the cloaks and stuff. I'm not really sure like like what other colors we want to add to the models, you know, it's kind of tricky. So they've got different guns. We did the cloaks and everything. I'm not sure if we got a finish. If I would count these guys as finished. Some of these actually are finished, I think. They've got like the different, they've got the bronze and they've got the silver. They got all the different colors on them, so I think they're pretty much done. Like there's maybe 35, 40 of these guys, like half painted, not half painted. Also have yeah, my friend just blue tacked the just blue tacked the magnets in, so the magnets have just removed themselves from the model. Didn't even glue them in, so I think we're gonna have to sort out. This guy's lost his arm. Right, so the top layer actually isn't that important. Like these guys and all that. I'm gonna take the top layer off. Stuff underneath the top layer. Actually, most of it's painted. Not all of it though. We have got a Techno Priest, or the big one. The Magus. I'm not quite sure what they're actually called. We got one painted as well. So bring him in. A lot of silver. You can't see like the blending. Well, you might be able to see some of the blending on the actual purples there. It goes from dark purple up to lighter. So Nice to see he's got a Pope hat. This is Pope hat. That's his name. He's Mr. Pope hat to you. We got a spider tank. We do have bases for these spider tanks, but basically the spider tank looks. I liked the purple for these guys. And then outside of that, part of the army, most important part of the army is at the bottom of this box. Let's grab some of these pieces out and then remove this. What I probably want to do is throw all these models back down into where they came from. Just get rid of some of these. They're just technically top. These guys do have slots that they live in, but for now, I want to put them back down. Sky. Yeah, at some point in time, we'll probably get back in to like painting the rest of these armies. Oh, that's actually a guy. This guy. These guys can go away. I don't want any of this stuff in the way because the models are out now. Big. Okay, so right at the bottom. Right at the bottom of this case. Shouldn't be dusty because they're at the bottom of the case. Right at the bottom of this case is the Night Titans. So we have two. This is how the Night Titans look for our army here. We got little skulls on the, like when you're doing Space Marines, like there's a sketch. There's a sketch for like the web and peel. Like they're like, sir, our uniforms. It's like yes, and it's like all the skulls. Does that mean we're the bad guys? It's really cool. I think that's funny because like army uniforms and stuff like that, they just have like cool symbolism on them. But like, surely some people are like, God, like skulls and stuff. Doesn't like with the impression that we're the good people here. There's got to be some people in history who felt that way about their uniforms and actually kind of like the Night Titans without the legs. If you could like give them robots that kind of like this shape in some of the games we play, they got like hover things. They just float. They kind of look a lot like those without their legs. Their legs kind of look crap. I'll be honest with you. The legs are like the worst part of a Night Titan. Here we have the just so that they fit into the case better. I generally don't glue like the arms and stuff on, so I can like take them apart and put them in the cases and stuff. But then we got the armor pieces themselves as well. Like they're usually kept loose. So it's that. We only have one. Wait, we only have one Night Titan. What's going on here? Why is your head stuck to? Why is the plastic like stuck to your jeans? What's happening here? Actually, it came off pretty clean. Hasn't left any plastic on there, but it just pulled his head off. These guys came out, and I think a lot of people at the time lost their shit. These guys look cool as fuck. I'll show you these. Oh, no, his head. I don't know why his head should be glued in. The fact that it's now not attached, it's got to be just because he got pulled out. You got these like little Night Titans now. They're like little chainsaws and melter guns. They look pretty cool. I like them. Got another one. They come in. They come in sets of two, so I think they're pretty. I did them with alternate arms actually. I gave them chainsaw on the other side and melter gun, and then melter gun and chainsaw. So it could either like it'd be like this. They're both running on something like chainsaw it. Like, but yeah, either way, like that's the Night Iron. Followed the same color scheme onto the little guys. Little tank here, sticking his head in. It's like, hello, can I be part of this? No. Go away. um Actually, when we take this all apart, the legs go in on one side, the body goes in the other. So this, I was thinking this spider can go down. They also have like they have like old school 80s style like beep boop robots. And when I say beep boop robots, you'd know what I mean when you see them. They're like really old school looking. They're pretty cool. What's this? The head? That's another head. The little guy. Hmm, crazy. Why do I have another head? I definitely don't have another little guy built. It's not painted, so I don't know. I don't know what it's doing. Let's take this those out. Let's put this guy down because they just slot on. So go. Put his body back in. His legs back in. Good. Foam on this guy. You piece. Yeah, cool. So just packing it, packing it away while we're waiting for the model to cure up a little bit. Just pack back in. I've got a lot of this stuff. Like I got most of this army actually. I don't think I got any of the like lancers. I got another. I got two more spider tanks, and I've got like I said, the Rock'em Sock'em robots. Got a lot more of the red models that we showed you. Maybe I need to move away from the table. Back in top. So put this guy back in. I don't know where his base went. He was on the shelf downstairs. His base stayed on the shelf down. I would have put it. So this one up. We have another army show. Nothing to go through. said, I do have. Oh, I didn't put the Titan arms away. Oh no! Go back in. Layer below. And the two pads. Sorted. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Concentrating now. Concentration mode. Let's have a little look. Look around this model. What needs to be done? It's a bit dark, so I'll be honest with you. A little bit more of a white dry brush on it would probably be pretty helpful. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do another light dry brush white on it. We'll try to be careful with all the red that's already finished now. So we're not going to go too crazy. We're going to only really touch up the parts that are really just predominant, like sticking out. So I'm going to go across the tops of the wings. Just a touch. And across the front. We get his arm in here. A little bit more there. A little bit here. Towards the end. Get it in between. Nice. It's looking good. A little bit on his face, maybe. Face out touch. Pretty good. Haven't touched anything else yet. So it's going pretty well. Here we go. His arm. Get some of his body. His tail is really like the most like standout part of him. Really dark. Try best not to touch any of the parts that we don't want to touch. Should be easier on this side since he's got that claw just in the way. Nice, actually, looking nice. Let's get this leg this side. Touch up his arms. Under part of this arm. Try to get, because there's some red base sections in these wings. Did just touch a little bit of that one bit of his carapace there, but I think we should be able to just use a bit of red on the brush and just touch it, just ever so slightly touch it back up. There's a touch of white going in the places we don't want it, but that's fine. Like I said, we should not doing any of this on screen, so you guys can't even see what I'm doing. Oh god, so bad with this. I'll get used to it at some point in time, guys. I'm sorry. I think the model in general was just a little dark. Like the under parts of the wings can be fine. I don't want to ruin any of the carapace we've already touched, but like I said, we can come back in with our white, with our red, sorry, on the brush. I get the other side of his face here. So he'll show up a little bit better. There we go. Right. Okay, so now, not so dark. We've got the red finished as well. We got some detail here on the tail. This needs to be finished. And outside of that, it looks pretty good. Outside of that, not much left to do. We'll do some touching up. We'll just leave the white brush, the dry brush in the water for now. We're going to just give it a good squelch in the bottom there. And grab our small brush and we'll use the red. I don't want too much paint on the brush, but it doesn't really matter. Make sure we get enough on the bristles. I'm gonna like kind of just spin the brush while I try to remove some of the red. And then what we got is just very lightly the edges now which have been accidentally colored white. Just gonna touch these edges. We're not painting, we're just lightly grazing the edges, like with the edge of the brush, like this, just so that it slowly colors it back into being red. We're not just like painting a solid, oh shit, don't knock my color over. Like this bit under here, it's hit with the edge of the brush, just follow the edge of the model with the edge of the brush, and it should follow the red back in. There we go. It took a while, but we got it. We're gonna touch a little touch of red again. Again, we're gonna make sure that all the bristles are colored. Want too much wool? Don't want too much of the paint on our brush. Just touching up this edge. That's a bit. That's fine. It looks a bit off, but what'll happen is when the paint dries, it'll go a little darker, and then it'll blend in a little bit better. So if you do end up with a little bit too much red, or it looks a little bit off, you can feel safe that it's going to end up getting a bit darker when it dries off. So it's really not a big a problem if it doesn't look like it matches, because you won't notice. And better to just put it on, and then like it doesn't, if you have put too much and it's going to like look out of place, just don't try to overcompensate. Just leave it and it should be fine, right? Don't want to put too much. Don't want to go too crazy with it. Like we've just tried to like put the red down on this bottom corner here, but it turns out that the white that I can see is actually just the bottom, because the underneath of this piece is actually still white. It's really just the bottom of the actual piece and not that it needs to be touching up. So again, like, make sure, good lesson to learn, make sure that what you're actually thinking you need to touch up actually needs it before you go too crazy and maybe possibly ruin part of the model that's actually finished. Okay, it's looking good. It's looking good. Right. So now we whitened him up a touch and we darkened him down. There is now like a lack of detailing in some of his actual recesses. So as we can see from that, we're gonna want to come back in with the wash and throw some wash now into some of his recesses, just to add a little bit of extra color where we want it. That should be fine then. Should be pretty much model finished. Got that little bit of extra detailing on his tail to do, but that's only just claws. To be honest with you, most of his other claws are finished, ones that you're going to see properly. This one here actually is pink still, so that one needs a bit of work on it. So let's get our red wash, and we're going to keep using the small brush here. I'm going to just add in like here on the elbows. I think we might have built this model before we actually started doing this like detailing. What you can actually do is just like dab it all in and then just tap it with your finger. It actually saves you a lot of hassle. It's kind of cheating, but you know what? Like I said before, it blends the color in, and we're trying to like keep like a reddish color tone to the main flesh. I don't want it too white. It did seem to come out really white, but that's only because all this other detailing in the recesses and stuff hasn't actually been done on this model. So we're going to make sure that you get all the parts, whether you think people are going to see it or not, because some people might pick the model up and take a deeper look at it, and then they'll be like, "Oh, you didn't paint under here." It's like a lot of the people that give advice on painting, they say like, you paint really well at the parts that people are going to focus on, and then the parts that people aren't really going to bother looking at, you don't worry too much about them. But I'll be honest with you, like if you're going to be doing some detail on part of the model, you might as well continue that detail across all of it, right? I don't know. I don't know. Do as little effort as possible if you can get away with it. I've never understood that mindset, so I don't know. I'm not mentioning any people in particular, but I have heard some people being like, only really need to add paint to where people are gonna look. All the rest of it doesn't really matter. But yeah, like I said, I don't really follow that. I don't agree with it specifically. So, but people do what people do. A lot of people, they bought out contrast paints, and a lot of people just slap one layer of contrast on, and then that's it. I mean, if you're new to painting, or you don't have the time, and you're happy, if you're 100%, if you're happy with how it looks, doesn't matter. As long as you're happy, doesn't matter. Don't let someone else then tell you that your model isn't, like, your model looks shit. If anyone ever does that, just tell him to fuck off. Tell him Sergeant Bradshaw said you can fuck off, right? Just say that, and then they'll be like, "Who's Sergeant Bradshaw?" They won't know who you're talking about, but it'll be better. It's better that way. All right, that arm has had some extra detail in. Let's get his head, the side of his mouth. Always add a little bit of red there. For the rest of his arm. Inside his mouth here. It's like wiping off the excess there. That should be it. That should be it. Other than finishing his tail off, he should be ready to go on his base. And we got his claw as well, don't we? So let's get his claw sorted. Which is actually the same thing we got to do for his tail, so it's all going to be the same. It's all the same stuff, the same process. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do the one claw and the tail. Actually, I see like this half of this claw here is kind of pink as well. Why did I only do the claws on one side? Why didn't I do all the claws? I only did the claws on one side of the body. Didn't even bother with the rest of them. Crazy. Past me is like, I'll sort this out. I'll give myself something to do in the future. Here we go. Half a model finished. And it catches up a little bit right there. This little claw here. Make sure we colour that one in too. We got a little claw on the wings. Make sure we colour that. He's got a claw here, look. On the other wing. And the other claws are all done. What about here? Those claws are done. Okay, we're going to do the last. We got a bee. Is there a bee in here? Swear down, I can hear a bee. Right. Okay. Just the claws left to finish. Maybe some purple on his tongue. What do you reckon? A purple tongue. So let's go with the wash. Purple wash. On its tongue. We'll grab the base back up. And we will do the next layer of purple on the base. Sorry guys, I'm not holding it. You can see, I'm gonna purple his tongue. Let's get that inside his mouth. A bit that's inside his mouth as well. Crazy. Here we go. He just touched his teeth. Oh well. No one's gonna look at it. It's fine. It's fine. We'll sort it out. We'll sort it out after. If his tongue's purple, his spit's purple. So it makes sense, right? Makes sense. It's just spit coming out of his mouth. Alright, cool. So, having done some extra work elsewhere, we are going to go back to putting some purple on this base. Again, we should be pretty much... It looks pretty good. Without having to go to... I don't feel like we really need to put more purple on, but I just want to make sure that we got enough colour. Because once we start adding the silver back in, it's gonna like really diminish how much purple you can see. So, and then we're gonna be trying to work out how to make it look like it's actually corrupting the rest of the metal. Like break it all down. Like I said, they eat everything. Metal is technically organic. It doesn't grow, right? It doesn't grow, but I mean like it's a natural product. It's not like created. It comes from... most metals come from just mixing elements together. So yes, pretty much straightforward, nice and easy. Here we go. There. There's all the purple done there. So I don't think we need any more colouring for the purple on that bit. It's going to be fine. We're going to start doing black on the top of this carapace now then. So need to dry off. Don't need to super dry off my brush. Need to make sure that it doesn't have any excess paint in it though. So try to rub off as much of that as we can. Okay, let's grab our Nuln Oil now. We gotta dip in. We grab this bit and do the same thing we've been doing with the red. Don't need it to be on super heavy. I don't want to fill in or have too much of it pooling. Just want it to be... just want to make sure it gets everywhere. Here we go. Here we go. See, it's getting a bit darker. Thing with red wash, oof. I just noticed we're pulling off the other color, but once we dry brush it, it should be fine. Actually pulling off the red there, so that means that we have been putting the layers on too quickly, not let them dry off enough before we move on to the next one. So yeah, what we're going to do in the meantime, we have some tail work to do on the main model. I'm going to make sure that my fingers aren't too dirty. I have to go wash my hands Because when I grab this model and I touch it now, I transfer some dirty fingerprints onto it. So I might go wash my hands quickly, try to get rid of some of this. And won't be long. Give me 2 seconds. Fuck off, moth. I can catch it. I actually tapped it 3 times, but I haven't caught it. If I could catch it, I'll just throw it outside. The window's open, so. Right. Put my headset on, but there's no sound coming into my head. I don't even need it on. It's not doing anything. Why have I got my headset on? It's just like something I do when I'm sat here. Just always put my headset on. It's always on. Right. Okay, so this guy, a little bit closer. This guy is a little bit closer. So now we're going to be doing the red. Same thing we've been doing with the rest of this. We might just re-white in tendrils. Here's the moth. Give me a moth. He knows I want to catch it. Yeah. Fell off the table. Hopping around the floor now. Okay, cool, moth. Do your thing, dude. Don't worry about me. Do your thing. This thing with this tail now then, I guess. We are going to use the red. Get another coat of red on this to darken it down a lot. And it's not a massively big area to cover, so it'll be finished pretty quickly. Nice. I feel like we're gonna dry brush some of the tendrils, so I don't really want to do much with that. What we can do actually is whiten the brain parts on the back of the model. There's a lot of brain parts. There's a lot of brain bits here. Do I want to just go straight up white? That is not an but I give it a that thing for sure. How would I catch it? Thing is not. Tempted to just leave the room. How do I catch it? Oh shit, where'd it go? Up on there now. Got a tin. I just gotta open the put it in the tin for the tin out the window. It kind of looks like a dragonfly, but I don't think it is. My headset off. Doesn't do anything for me. I got it. I got it. Throw the tin out the window. um, close the window. I mean, I opened the window for there to be a draft coming. So let's throw the tin out. There you go. Right, it's outside now. Oh, it kind of looked like a dragonfly, but it was like really small. Like really small. I have no idea what it was. Possibly a dragonfly. Don't know where we get a dragonfly around here though. What are we doing? How close are we now? Getting closer. We're getting closer and closer and closer every moment of every day. And hopefully we'll finish this off soon enough. What I want to do now is get these little bit of carapaces done on the claws here on the main model, just here. Now it's going to be tricky with the dry brush. Got to try to very, very lightly. Yeah, it's going to be hard not to touch the fingers. Like I said, the fingers are tricky to avoid. Okay, cool. We get the other side. Okay, let's get some more paint on our brush. I see it in the camera and it doesn't look like camera kind of just blends the colors in. You can see it actually, it's not so bad. Kind of like makes the colors look a bit more, when you look at it with your eyes, like it's a lot more like this part's red and that part's black. It's a lot less like in the camera it looks like it goes red to black. I don't know, I don't know, it's kind of, it's not far off. It's not far off what we're actually seeing. But the cameras do change the colors and stuff a little bit, make them more vibrant and things like that, so they can stand out a little bit more than what they should look like. Yep, it's fine. We'll just touch up the fingers when we're done. I don't want to go, I want to kind of just dry brush the one direction so that we only get the edges of the carapace here. I don't really want to go back the other direction on it. So try not to touch the actual scythe itself. Hopefully we've managed that. Kind of looks a little red here, but I don't think we actually touched it. Right, okay, both those are done. This one has some scratches in it. And when we got some time, we can probably touch up the little red bits on there now. I'll leave this brush in the water just for touch and grab some white. Let's touch up these ends. I'm just going to dab white back onto them. We're not going to go too crazy. Grab a bit more white. Probably water the white down. It might help us actually just put like the right amount of white back where we want it. Let's look at all right actually. Go in across the top. And touch the edges, top edges of the finger here. There you go. That's the one hand. Pretty much back. Almost. Almost back to where we need it. This bit here could do with a little bit more. Chin back up. Okay, let's look in. That's looking pretty good. Right. There we go. See, like there's never a point in time where like you can't like retouch up something, get it coming back up. See, so if we look at the other hand now, you see that these fingers here, look, the fingers coming into that's what we're fixing. Just putting white back on them because they're like the like top most exposed skin. So putting direct white back on top of them is fine. It's fine. Like it doesn't go out of place. It looks like it works because like the most sharpest edges on most of this model, like for the flesh anyway, specifically, are white. They go up to this color. So when the fingers are then recolored back in with white here, they don't go out of place at all. It just looks like we just hopefully it doesn't look like we've repainted them at all. Hopefully it just blends in perfectly fine, but sometimes it's hard to say or hard to tell. Like if they blend, like they definitely feel like we got too much paint on our brush now because that just colored it in too easily. I'm a little suspicious that might not end up looking too good, too well blended. I like to slowly build the color up as we go along. I see what I'm doing. This bit here. I'm trying to like lighten up some of the other edges around it as well so that it'll be like in color. So we just whitened all these pieces here to like bring them back out. See this side, this top finger's red. These pieces down here are red. So again, we're gonna just add a little bit of extra white back to our brush. And we're going to just touch, very gently touch, like the top edge. That piece now is done. That piece looks fine. I need to go both sides of this longish finger in the middle. A little bit of extra paint. Just a tiny, tiny dab of paint. We're looking at the we're looking at the flow of the bristles as well. We're using the flow of the bristles to like point into where we're putting the paint, just trying to define where the paint gets dropped more accurately. The reason why I'm not getting paint anywhere other than where I want is because I'm not really pressing that hard. It might look like I'm going pretty hard on it. I'm only actually very, very, very gently touching the top edge. There you go. And now because we kind of blended the color coming in, that should look pretty good. Let's go across. We're doing this side of this top one now. We're slowly adding the color in. Trying to blend the red that has accidentally gone onto it and use it in like really naturally bringing the color back. Not going too bad with it. Not just trying to dollop the white in, basically, is what I'm saying. So use some of that mistaken red to our advantage. Okay, the fingers are visible again on all of the hands. Looks in the camera like we might have dabbed a little bit wrong on that finger, but I think it's fine. If anything, we always put a spot of red wash back in there at some point. We go into any parts on the skull that are turning white now when we've put the wash on it. The way we get around that is when we dry brush it, like all those white edges, they're going to be red. So they're all really the dry brush sections of the skull. As you can see, on the one side we were kind of a bit more gentle. On the other side you can see some of these white edges. It's like we're pulling the red off as we're putting the black on. So what we need to do is just be careful with that. We're going to try go over it again now. We're going pretty quickly with these colors. I would normally give it a lot more time, but we want to kind of just get this to an end point fairly soon. So I'm going to just dab in. I'm dabbing now on this one. I don't want to scrape or rub. I just want to dab some more color into where we're putting it. That's looking... I just put my finger on that. Dab in, sorry guys. Dab in, just dab in and spread in the colour in. I don't want it to be too thick in any given spots. But I want it to be dark now. Need it to be dark, so here we go. There we go, it's looking good. We might need to, yeah, looks like we've touched the mandible. I need to touch the mandible up again afterwards, but that's fine. See, keep an eye on it, because we have been putting a lot of black in here now. Like I said, I don't really want it to pull up super heavy. So I'm going to be keeping track of anywhere where I see it pooling and just try to take some of the paint back off. Okay, I think that's it. We're going to leave it there like that. Gonna wait, and then it's gonna need to give it like half an hour, maybe a little bit longer, to dry off, and then we could dry brush it. Probably best to give it like an hour. Probably best to leave it for as long as possible. What we can do in the meantime, we have these two little arms. You get back in there, little mouth. We got these two little arms which get attached to the shoulders in here like this. So yeah, we're gonna paint these up separately as we got them. We need to dry brush them now. That's the next stage, and then we can almost go straight into using the Seraphim Sepia shade that we use on them. So what we're going to do is try get a quick white layer on them. Try not to probably have to start using a different part of the tissue now. Okay, so this brush is slowly picking red up from all the red that we're using. So I'm going to dry brush. Sorry guys, keep doing this, but you can't see it's too wet. I can instantly tell it's too wet. I'm going to just push that into the tissue paper. That got rid of a lot of the excess and made it look a little bit better straight away. So here we go. Just dry brush. It's too wet. Brush is too wet. Don't know what to do. The brush is too wet. I think the brush itself is just too wet. We just washed it out. There's not much we could do. Try a little bit more paint. The lid in the pot is pretty dry, so we can actually, we don't get too much paint on the brush when we do this. Let's try the next one. Let's hope. We're going to be washing it and then dry brushing it again, so it doesn't really matter if we like do too much white here. Just want a little bit of the red color in there because it does add to, it's hard for you guys to see because the white light is just bleaching all the color that we've added out. You can see the ridges, so you can tell that there's color in there. If it was just pure white, you won't get any of the color in the ridges there. So we're fine, actually. It's fine. It's fine. It's not ruined or anything like that. It's just we need to give it a bit more time, let it dry off properly. Alright, let this brush dry off properly. Just used it too often. It would help if we had like 2 or 3 like blank color brushes, non-specific color brushes. We're not using this brush on the red. So once the head is dried off, once the black here is dried, we'll do the dry brushing on it, and then we got some white we can fill in. We had some white we can fill in on the back of this model here, right? So what do we want to do? Fill that in. Let's take a little brush and it's kind of tricky. What I don't want to do really is not a bit too much. What have we got? I don't have anything where we can mix colors on unless I use something that's just laying about. I used to have a tray where I'd mix my colors, but it's alright. Maybe we can use the base. Use the base, because when we color the base up, you're not going to see it anymore. I used to use the lid in my water jar. What do we need to do? Need to just water down the white. That's all we're doing. I think it really helps too much to do it like this. But we're going to put some white in the lid. The water is a bit red, but I think that's going to help. We're going to water down this white a decent chunk. Nice and runny. Now, white doesn't cover colours very well, especially really dark ones like red or black. So what we're going to do is it'll dry up fairly quickly. So we're going to just colour it in. Going to colour where we need it. So I'm going to go over, I think we're going to go over the tendrils a little bit. Just get them a little bit whiter. So we can start colouring them the way we want them again. So it's not going to cover massively great. It looks like it does right now, but once it dries, it'll go a bit more see-through. And we don't really need them to go back to white, just need them to not be red, you know what I mean? So basically straightforward. That one looks like it's pretty much done. Let's go. I'm gonna go for, try not to get any white paint on any of the other bits. So in here there's a circle, exposed brain matter. Gonna make sure that we get all of it, like everything, every part of this circle, all of the flesh. I'm gonna change the angle here so I can get it whited in from all angles. There we go. Right. Oh god, it's a little bit nerve-wracking doing these pieces. We've got a lot. There's a lot of brain matter uncovered in here. I don't want to go. I don't want to touch any of the finished. Of the finished armor, you know what I mean? Although we'd only need to like just very lightly touch it with the red, and it'll cover up any of the white we might accidentally color in here now. Here we go, another little circle. Another little circle. Oof, my hands are shaking a little bit here now. Touching my other hand with my hand helps me keep it steady. If you ever find that your like hands are shaking a bit much, just touch your other hand with your hand and it should steady itself. It's usually a pretty good tip. So any part. You see me, I'll always use like my finger to touch like another finger or something like that. That helps me keep both my hands still. That's why I'm doing that. So a nice little tip there. Okay, nice, nearly there. Nearly there on the one side. We got to repeat this on the other side. Right. Oh, there we go. Re-white it out. Let's get some of these tendrils brought back in. There's one down here. That one's white. Like I said, I might do them purple. Let's just do the like really dark purple on the inside bit. That's gonna help us So all we got to do is just like do it purple, and then we could bring it out like a safe level, and then oh, just ruined that bit. Just touch the carapace there, so we'll have to fix that. That's fine though, not a big problem. Right, so let's go from the other angle. Some of these bits. That's this one. It in. There we go. Right. So the key to painting anything really is just taking your time, you know. Take your time and just have an idea of where you want your colors to go and what colors you want to use. So a lot of the time if I stop painting a model, it's because I don't know where I want to go color wise with it on where I've got to. So you'll find that I've got a lot of models that are painted to a certain point and like they just stop. Really just I want to do something different with it, but I don't know specifically what we're looking to do, you know, what colors I want to use and stuff like that. For me, it's a really big thing that stops me from really just going from start to finish on models. Tyranids are really easy because I've already, over the years, painted so many of them, and they all just now that we know what colors we want to use and where we want to use the colors and what needs to go certain colors and stuff like that. Now we've worked all that out on all the other models we've done. It's like any new models now. It's like, oh, it's got tentacles. Nice. We could do some purple. We could do some white. They're gonna look fine. Like we know how we're gonna deal with them. But before, the first time we did some tentacles, the first time we did some venom tropes, like honestly, we're like, well, what are we doing with this? Pretty sure my venom tropes actually went to halfway and then stopped. The same way everything else does. In very much the same fashion. Like, this is new. Haven't done tentacles before. How are we going to make these look? How do I want this model to look like when it's done? Right, so the tentacles, they're not perfect, but they're not red. They're not red anymore. So we're going to just start putting some color back in there after a while. I need to mix up a little bit more white, get the rest of these brain parts on the back of this model like sorted out. So let's grab a big dollop of white, probably too much white. Mix in some of the red, water, which is fine because, like I said, the brain bits are going to go blue and then pink. Might be a bit difficult to do that on these pieces here, but I think we'll be fine. Use this brush delicately. See, that one looks really white. That one looks like we got way too much white in there. We probably do. So we'll just let it dry. It'll dry flat. It won't ruin any of the details because we've watered down the paint. Kinda hard. Kinda hard to ruin the details if you water the paint down. Because when it dries out, that extra water will disappear and the layer of paint you put on will actually go really thin. So it'll lose most of its mass when the water dries off. So we're good. Don't need to stress about it. Looking a bit thick on this side. It'll end up looking perfectly fine. This almost looks like the two parts of the brain here don't actually have a gap between them. But there is a gap between them, so trying to get the angles so I can see where I need to actually put the paint. Alright, we got... Oh, seems to go in fairly deeply. Let's try... Need to look at it from different angles. So we can see... Well, I think we got it. The touch here with the white. Right, we'll be able to touch that back up with the red. I'll probably do that right now so I don't forget. It's hard to miss it. It's hard to miss it, so I don't see it really being that big a problem. Right, okay, right. White it in. Those little bits. The main body is getting very close to being finished. To be honest with you, that's how it's looking. We need to dab the red. This little spot that we just scraped off. It was still kind of spongy and wet with the red there, so get away with just quickly dabbing a bit of red now back on top. Still don't want to have too much red on my brush though, so I'm gonna just blend it back in. What we'll do then is we'll just like add a little bit more red tops of the inside bits here, so like they'll all basically look the same on the inside there. That's cool. That's cool. The other side actually, the other side seems to not really be properly dry brushed. Must be said. Kind of crazy looking. We're gonna just give it another quick blitz with the dry brush on this other side. Okay. It looks good now. Yes, good. Looking good. Usually what I end up doing is I end up handling these, because I always grab them at the top. I always handle those a lot and they always wear off. We end up back on white at the top's edge of the edges there, so I always end up having a like reread the top corners and the edges all the time. All right. I was planning on staying on a lot later, but I'll be honest with you, no one knows we're doing this just yet, so to expect a lot of people to come and stick around and hang around. It'd be nice if we had some more people talking. Don't worry, don't feel like I'm asking you to start talking, guys. It's not that important. But if we had more people talking, I'd be able to sit around and do more. I feel like we're at a point now where I kind of like, I'm going to need to sit around a lot and wait for the different parts to dry off properly before I can really progress with them. So it's kind of like one of those things now. If we were talking, sitting and talking in between doing each different thing, like it would have the time to like cure up properly, but we're starting to see that we're doing bits and we're doing them too quickly, because when we're like adding that black to the carapace on the head, that's like it's pulling off the red. So we're going back to, it's like black on white now. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of red in there showing up. So that's kind of like something we need to avoid. So we're gonna have to like put the time in, let it just chill out. We could move on to another model, and we do have more models here to work on, but I kind of like getting. It's hot. Actually, it's really hot. If it was colder, I wouldn't mind so much. It's really hot. I feel like sweaty, and I want to change my clothes. I'm gonna have a cold shower. Gonna go for a nice cold shower, and yeah, we're gonna leave it there. So guys, it's getting like a lot closer. A lot of the stuff we've done today, like if you took what it looked like at the start of the stream and what it looks like now, you probably wouldn't really pick out a lot of the differences right now. But the head had like only a small amount of work done to it, and now the head's like at a point where it's nearly finished. So this is really where we've been focusing our attention today, trying to get this head finished. So like you see, the head is almost as big as like some of the other models. So considering that we've got these stages that we got to go through, we got to wait for them to dry each time. We're using washes, so it doesn't take massive amounts of time to dry. This is very nice. Contrast would take even less time to dry than what we're actually doing here. And then we had the base. The base is obviously, the base is still wet. So we're gonna have to wait until tomorrow for the base to be ready and usable. I need to go find. It smells like something's burning. I know I turned the oven off, so it can't be the oven still being on. I'm gonna have to go investigate. Anyway, guys, we're gonna leave it there today. Thanks for joining us. If you know anybody who's into this type of stuff and has some free time at this point in the time of the day, please consider letting them know. Let them know if they like painting and they want someone that they can just sit down, chill out, and paint along to, and we can just paint models together and talk. I'm more than happy. That's what we're here for, right? That's all we're here for. So yeah, jump into the Discord in the link below and show us what you're working on. There are no bad jobs. Everything is experience, and everyone can get better if they put the time in and just learn. You just learn different tricks as you go along. So honestly, I would like to say that I could vouch for everyone, but there's not a massive Warhammer community in there at the moment. So if anyone does like say anything a bit out of, a bit hot, nasty or anything like that, then I'll moderate it. Don't worry, I'll tell him. I'll tell him to shut up. It's all good, right? I just want everyone to feel comfortable in the actual Discord to just show what they're working on, because different people are always at different lengths, different stages of where they're learning. So, like I said, my first couple of models that I ever painted were terrible. They were really bad. I don't think I've got any of them left anymore. I think I got rid of them a while back, but yeah, definitely. It's just something that happens. You put the time in, you put the effort in. Don't let other people discourage you, and you'll find it. You'll get it. Like, so yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. Consider dropping a like and a subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next time. Bye. I keep going